Hi there. Welcome to episode 2 of Mushroom Mondays with Spore. I'm your host, Dr. Michele Ross, and today is a very special episode for anyone that struggles with an autoimmune disorder or chronic pain. So, our guest today is Michael Zavet, who is the co founder of Spore and also a patient with MS. So, in future episodes of Mushroom Mondays, we're going to have Mike as a co host. So, this is, again, a really cool episode. So I am going to invite Mike on right now. Let's see. So here we go. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Michelle. Thanks for having me.
Okay, perfect. Well, it's so great to have you on the show today. I am very interested in learning about your story. I think it's going to help so many people that are searching for answers for what to do with some of that chronic pain and other health issues with any autoimmune disorder, including MS.
I look forward to telling my story and hopefully helping people along the way.
Okay, so perfect. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what MS is and a little bit about your journey learning that you had these symptoms?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess MS is somewhat of a blanket term. What it involves is essentially your immune system attacking your healthy cells. It often manifests itself by attacking your nerve cells, in particular your myelin sheath, which is the covering that covers your nerves. And when that happens, your nerves don't function properly. Think of them as like wires, and the wire that has part of the insulation missing is going to fire improperly. And that's fundamentally what MS does. When I was diagnosed, my first symptom was actually I woke up one morning and, prior to that, thinking I was completely healthy, and all of a sudden my eyes weren't functioning properly. If I, turned both eyes to one direction, one would go and the other would lag behind. It was super bizarre. And, and my vision was obviously skewed because of that. My eyes weren't adjusting. It was very scary what was going on and having manifested itself kind of so suddenly, or at least it seemed sudden, although probably the writings on the walls beforehand.
I mean, it can be very scary trying to figure out your diagnosis and what's wrong with you. So I'm glad you were able to get a diagnosis. Now, um, when you were talking with your doctors, did you go through any of the traditional treatments for MS, some of the prescriptions? There's a lot of different options, right? Did you try them and did they work for you?
Yeah, so there are tons of options, and what's right for somebody may not be right for someone else. Personally, when I was first diagnosed, they didn't know what they were looking at. At first they proposed maybe I had a brain tumor, and that was super frightening. So,
Yeah.
immediately I went into an information gathering phase where I was just researching all the different treatment options and potential courses for the disease, and just sort of learning what my options were. My doctors initially had proposed that I take, some of the more common, I guess, drugs prescribed for MS, which are generally immunosuppressants. So, they target your immune system to prevent it from attacking itself. The problem with that is you never know when you need your immune system, and
Hmm.
we actually need it all the time. And having a compromised or weakened immune system is not an ideal outcome for anyone. So, naturally, I wanted something that would not compromise my immune system, and I looked to a more natural path, which is, how I discovered mushrooms.
And I think that's so important to hear, right? Our immune system does a lot, right? We don't want to come down with colds and flus and, even worse things like cancer. Our immune system really protects us against all of those things. And especially now, we're hearing more and more people with autoimmune disorders having issues, with COVID and some of these other, more scarier illnesses that are happening now. So it's really important to sort of protect your immune system. It's really, really key to good health. So it's really,
Very critical.
yeah, so it's really important, to look for some of those natural things and to sort of weigh your options of, is this traditional treatment, a good fit for me, or is there something, if I am going to take it, am I going to offset my side effects of these, these very powerful treatments? So, what made you turn to medicinal mushrooms? It really was, trying to offset those side effects, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, first I was looking at, how can I improve or repair my cognitive function, without taking immunosuppressants. And what I quickly learned was that mushrooms are often touted as a nootropic, which means that they are, a brain health supplement. And for me, it was most interesting that there's a lot of research and data surrounding certain species of mushrooms helping with remyelination. So essentially, your nerves, repairing the myelin sheath, which of course would alleviate the symptoms of MS. Lion's mane is one of those mushrooms that is very infamous and associated with remyelination of nerves, and that's kind of where my initial interest was piqued. Started following some mycologists, including Paul Stamets, who's a famous mycologist, and I watched his documentary, Fantastic Fungi, and I was pretty obsessed. Like almost immediately, started to just do all the research I can and consume all the literature out there on functional mushrooms and medicinal mushrooms and how they can potentially help with my condition.
Well, you mentioned functional mushrooms and medicinal mushrooms. And for our listeners, right, they might not really know what those terms mean. When we're talking about medicinal mushrooms, right, we're not talking about the mushrooms that we put in our like salad or pizza or burgers, right? Like these are sort of more exotic mushrooms, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So, I get asked that question all the time. People kind of sort mushrooms into three categories. You've got your psychedelics, which a lot of people kind of misconstrue what we do with psychedelics, but our mushrooms are not psychoactive at all. And then you have kind of your edible mushrooms that you'd find on your pizza, and functional mushrooms are neither of those either. Functional mushrooms, by definition, are mushrooms that offer some sort of medicinal benefit outside of simply nutrition. So, these mushrooms contain compounds such as polysaccharides that are notorious antiviral, antioxidative, antibacterial, and that's what we refer to when we talk about functional mushrooms.
Although I would say, right, it's still helpful to eat some of those garden, I think, variety mushrooms, right? I think the research
Oh,
even suggests it's helpful for, reducing cancer risk. And they do have those sugars that help balance your immune system. So it's not like, either use the mushrooms that are, in your salad or use the supplements. I think it's really, incorporating both for overall wellness.
absolutely. I mean, your sort of table variety mushrooms are extremely healthy for you for the part. I mean, they're also touted as notorious antioxidants. They have a very very dense nutritional profile and just are overall good for most people to consume.
Now, you really became a mushroom expert in diving into all of this. And there are a lot of mushroom products, already on the market. You created a formulation called Mike's Mushroom Mix with Spore. And I'm just going to pull that up right now so everyone can see the bottle. What was different about Mike's mushroom mix? And, how has that mushroom mix specifically helped you with your quality of life with MS and just in general?
Yeah, so what I've found with most of the products on the market is that they often focused on just one ingredient. And what I wanted was to provide both myself and our customers with exposure to several different species of functional mushrooms. Mike's mushroom mix contains 11 different species, each sort of with their unique nutritional profile, and each that has, sort of a unique compound profile as well. So my idea was to provide sort of like a multivitamin, and I didn't see any other product on the market that did that with mushrooms. And with regards to the rest of our products, each is condition specific. So, we start with what is the condition we're solving for. And a lot of those conditions are ones that, I've had trouble with due to my MS, for example, being very tired, needing energy, hence our energy blend, or, needing something to help me focus, hence the focus blend, or chill out for sleep.
I love that. It's not so much like a condition, right? We're not talking about like, oh, there's a formulation for fibromyalgia and a formulation for MS and a formulation for this. It's really like broad feeling. Do you need more energy? Do you need more relaxation? Do you need more focus, right? These are all different things. And it's sort of interesting, right? Because one person might take more than one mushroom blend because you are trying to treat, or again, not treat, but you're really trying to focus on improving like one aspect of your life. You can definitely be tired and also need more focus, right? And so with mushrooms, is it really like possible to say like you're taking too many mushrooms, right? Like, is there side effects of taking too many mushrooms, or is taking like a say, two or more blends okay?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, our blends are meant to be sort of complementary. So, I mean, I take all of our products on a regular basis and in the same day. The threshold in terms of any negative side effects is extremely, I would say, high or low, depending on how you want to look at it. But the fact of the matter is, these products, I haven't seen any adverse reactions to date. Not to say that it's not possible that someone may have an allergy or something along those lines, but generally speaking, these products are extremely safe.
And that's so important because I think that when you have a chronic illness, you are definitely looking for answers, right? And you can Google all over, see all sorts of weird supplements out there. Some of them are not backed by science. Some of them aren't even safe, right? There's some ingredients that actually have harmful side effects, for your liver, for your brain health. Like, it actually does the opposite of what you're looking for. So I think here, what's nice about mushrooms is that there is actually a lot of research on it, for different things, right? For energy, for cancer, for this or that. And so it really is backed by science. So you're not like gambling, right? Like, that these things are safe in general. And then also, you got to remember, right? Mushrooms are food. And food is medicine, right? And so something that is safe for us to eat, right? You can eat lion's mane mushrooms. You can eat all these different mushrooms, right? If you get some like maitake mushrooms, you could put them in your salad too. Again, this is
Sure.
food. So food
Absolutely.
is safe.
I mean, some mushrooms, you may not, you want to stumble upon a mushroom in the woods and necessarily eat it. You definitely have to know what you're dealing with. And it's the same goes with plants. There's just such diversity in terms of species. But the mushrooms we use are all, certified food grade. You can consume any of them quite safely and without any negative side effects for the most part.
And that's amazing. So, you talked a lot about using Mike's mushroom mix every day. You also take some of these other blends, for energy or to, reduce the effects of stress and things like that, or, a little extra support, right, for your immune system if you feel like you're getting a little run down and don't want to get the colds and things like that are floating around out there. Are there any other supplements that you take outside of the Spore products?
Yeah, so I do take quite a wide range of supplements. So outside of the spore products, I take curcumin quite regularly for its anti-inflammatory effects. I take CoQ10 for the heart support, and we're actually going to be incorporating CoQ10 in an upcoming SKU specifically designed to support heart health. I also take a range of hormones, which are more targeted towards my MS and are prescription grade, so not a true supplement. One thing for me, at least, consistency is key, and I take my supplements every day, on the hour, and that's helped me, keep my symptoms sort of at bay and feel good every day.
And I think that's important to note, right? Like, there's not one thing that can take care of all of your symptoms, all of your health concerns, right? I really see mushrooms as being part of complementary medicine and not, say, alternative medicine. It's not plants or pills or fungi or pills, right? It's about incorporating mushrooms into your wellness regimen, whether that includes prescriptions, whether it includes alternative treatments like getting massages, like whatever it is, mushrooms is there and it's going to increase your overall well-being. It's going to help support you on your wellness journey, not replace the things that you need, because again, there is a time and a place for all sorts of different medicines, right? And I think that mushrooms is like, we're combining a lot of ancient wisdom, ancient medicine with very mainstream Western medicine. And I think that that's where the beauty lies in really helping us manage our different symptoms and health needs.
Absolutely. I mean, these products, mushrooms aren't meant to replace necessarily, the drugs or prescriptions that you're taking, but they're part of a wellness lifestyle, much like eating healthy food can never do you any harm.
Absolutely. So, we touched on how mushrooms are really helping you with your MS. And one of the really neat things about Spore is, when you open the box and you read a little bit about your story, is that Spore is giving back, donating a percentage of profits to MS foundations. And so, why is it important that we donate to MS foundations? What kind of work do they do?
Yeah, so we're in talks with a number of foundations, including MS Canada, and the goal really is to help support their efforts in research and development for treatments of the disease. And I think with MS, the interesting thing is that we've had quite a few breakthroughs in the field. In fact, it's one of the most promising areas of medicine. Every year, we're finding new novel compounds that help people significantly with the progression of the disease, and so we're part of the effort to support that and eventually hopefully get to a cure for the disease. And I truly believe that it's within reach.
Absolutely. As a neuroscientist, there has been just amazing advancements. And I think that Getting diagnosed today with MS is a lot different than getting diagnosed, 20 or 40 years ago. I think that the sooner that you are aware of your diagnosis, you have a really great chance of being able to incorporate some, healthy lifestyle, healthy eating, taking supplements, really supporting your body. And so, that the disease, which can be progressive, doesn't really progress to the very severe symptoms. And I think that's
Absolutely. Believe it or not, that's one of the first things the doctor that diagnosed me said was, on the bright side, no one likes to get a diagnosis like that,
Mhm.
but on the bright side, we've come a long way, and being diagnosed today is a completely different world than being diagnosed 10 years ago. And that's definitely very encouraging.
Absolutely. And I believe your disease really has periods where you can be sort of like in remission of some of the symptoms. Now, again, you always know that you have MS. You don't ever forget that. But like the number of bad days are greatly reduced, right? You don't really have flare ups of the pain and some of the spasms and some of these other symptoms like brain fog and things like that, right? And so I think that really the goal with, some of these wellness regimens, including taking spore mushrooms, right, is like less bad days, right?
Completely, totally, yeah. So, I mean, for me, I've been fortunate that since my flare up, I haven't had any major flare ups since my original one that got me the diagnosis. But, from time to time, I definitely feel the fatigue or the muscle spasms that are associated with the disease. And, you know, luckily, they aren't too extreme, and I've been able to keep them at bay, likely with, a mix of regular exercise and trying to stay on top of, my sleep and lifestyle and taking my supplements regularly.
Well, right now, mushrooms has, really hit the media hard, because a lot of people are talking about magic mushrooms. They're talking about these functional mushrooms, like we mentioned, lion's mane and cordyceps and all those good ones, right? But in the same vein, I think a lot of complementary medicine has been being talked about. And cannabis, of course, is something that has come up for MS patients as an option. And it's sort of interesting, right? You were a co-founder of one of the biggest cannabis companies in Canada, Emblem Cannabis. And so I'm sure you know a thing or two about cannabis. So do you use cannabis and medicinal mushrooms? Are they safe to use? Do they work? Like, how does it work for you?
Absolutely, yeah. I personally do use both, of course, medicinal mushrooms and cannabis. Fortunately, both drugs have very few interactions with other drugs. So they're generally safe and all natural, of course. For cannabis, I take it for the muscle spasticity relief. So essentially, cannabis is notorious for helping with muscle spasms for people who have all types of neurodegenerative diseases. And, in fact, my doctor even recommended it if, my spasms got too intense. Whereas mushrooms I take I mean, mushrooms can provide a, plethora of benefits, but for me, it's about immune support as well as, neurological support. So mushrooms are notorious for helping with remyelination of nerves. And so they're kind of complementary but separate. I take the two products very separately, but at the same time, they both help with different sort of symptoms.
I mean, again, it's amazing that there are different tools in the toolbox for using, again, plant medicine. Oops, and Mike has disappeared. Sorry. So we are going to just wait a second for Mike to rejoin. It looks like we have a technical issue here. So let's see. It looks like we have some uh, people that have joined our live. So that is really exciting. We have one comment here. As a new mom, I need all of these wellness things. So whether you are a mom, you're a patient, we all need to feel healthy. We all need to, protect ourselves against some of the, I would say the germs our kids bring home and things like that, right? We need a healthy immune system. So let's just see. Hopefully, Mike will be joining us soon. These are all the fun things about doing live shows, right? So little hiccups there, here and there. Let's see. So while we're waiting for Mike to rejoin, and just tell you guys a little bit about my journey with health. I have fibromyalgia, which is a little bit of a different disease than MS, but it's still very much characterized by muscle spasms and nerve pain, brain fog. So a lot of similar symptoms, and sometimes it's even misdiagnosed as MS. So you have to go through some of the very same steps of getting brain scans to rule out that you don't have MS. So it's really interesting, again, to hear about his journey, because a lot of the same products can be used for many different conditions or different again symptoms, stress, sleep, energy. Energy is a huge thing with autoimmune disorders and neurological disorders. So let's see. We have another comment here. I love this. So we can see this comment right here. It was so interesting that cannabis and functional mushrooms are safe to take together. And I think that's one thing that people don't really know. They think that, again, it's almost like combining magic mushrooms and cannabis, right? And both of those things, because magic mushrooms will get you high. You don't want to be high and taking like a whole bunch of other things that might, change your state of mind. But here we go. It looks like we have Mike. But with medicinal mushrooms, it's definitely safe to take with cannabis and other, again, natural treatments. Of course, we always recommend you talk to your doctor. So it looks like Mike has rejoined us. So, okay, Mike, you are actually on right now. We had a 3-second pause while it adds you. So I'm just going to add your little name there. Here we go. So Michael Zavet, co-founder of Spore, is back. Now we were just talking about how cannabis and medicinal mushrooms like spore blends can really work together. So I really want to dive into how you balance being a serial entrepreneur, right? A very, very busy job and having a chronic disease like MS, because a lot of patients, they might be on disability, they might be struggling, to keep down, their full-time job while struggling with some of these pain and symptoms and things like that. How do you do it all?
Yeah, I mean, I would be lying if I said there weren't challenges. They came with obviously having a chronic condition and being so busy. To say the biggest one is definitely fatigue, because MS definitely creates quite a bit of fatigue. But the truth is, I try to work through the tough times and the flare-ups. And in the good times, I have the energy to keep going. But mindset, I think, is overall very important. And sticking to my regimen, which, sort of keeps me sharp and feeling better more often than not.
Right. It's that balance. I think it's also like, managing expectations, knowing that you might not be able to hit 100 things on your to-do list, but like you are doing your best, right? And your best is probably a lot better than the average. And I think, as a entrepreneur, right, you have a lot of high expectations, but it's really about, providing balance, focusing on your health. And I think you're doing an amazing job. So you're definitely an inspiration to me, and I'm sure many of the patients with MS that are listening right now.
I hope so. It's, at the end of the day, it's never fun to get a diagnosis, but mindset, like I said before, is super important. And, with the right motivation and obviously, trying to stay on top of your health, I think anything can be accomplished in the long run.
Absolutely. So I do have one request. If you're talking to listeners that had just been diagnosed with MS, right? They might be shocked at their diagnosis. They don't know what to do in the future. They don't know what this looks like. What was the one tip that you wish somebody had told you when you were diagnosed with MS?
So I think, everyone goes through it in their own way. When you initially get that diagnosis, it's of course traumatic and very challenging. And I spent the first month just, somewhat traumatized for sure. But I think what's helpful is to know that it's not the end of the world. And even though obviously it sucks to get a diagnosis like that, there's options available to you. And do your research, find what's right for you. And most of all, like, take care of your health on a daily basis. Take your supplements, exercise, get enough sleep. All these things can really help with the outcome of the disease. And on the more optimistic side, there's also quite a few things in the medical pipeline. Treatments are becoming, more and more advanced. There's options that are hitting market every year that weren't available years before. And the treatments for the disease have really advanced quite incredibly. And I think, hopefully, although COVID obviously was a very dark time for a lot of people, the one good thing that came from everything is that there was a massive investment, an influx of investment towards medicine. And I think we'll be reaping the result or the rewards of that for years to come, hopefully. And so I think it's important to stay optimistic because the human spirit's very strong, and we're going to be advancing as a society in many ways over the next decades to come.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of big changes coming to many aspects of our society, right? From healthcare to technology. One of the things that I'm actually nerding out a little bit myself, and I think some other people are, one aspect of your very diverse career is that you ran a huge cryptocurrency firm in Canada called Hyperion Exchange. And so, of course, crypto is all the rage. On Saturday Night Live, Elon Musk was playing the Dodge father, so sort of like the godfather of Dogecoin crypto. So a lot of people are just getting into all these cool technology things, right? And they need to learn sort of fast, what they're doing, what these coins mean, things like that. Like, so if I wanted to use a spore blend to, improve my brain health so I could like absorb all this information about these new cryptos and things like that, what would I use?
I would say Focus Performance is the first one that comes to mind. That blend contains lion's mane. It's specifically formulated to be, a strong nootropic and assist with sort of that focus and obviously alleviating some of that brain fog to keep you sharp throughout the day. So that would be my number one recommendation. But it pairs well with energy in case you need that little pick-me-up, and when you're doing some heavy reading, especially about advanced technologies like cryptocurrencies, that could always be helpful. And getting a good night's sleep, always important as well. It's hard to focus when you're tired, so I like to take my chill out and get.
Oops. Okay, it looks like we lost Mike again, but we are wrapping up our show here. I do think that is awesome. I'm going to make sure that I take my Focus Performance blend before I do my next show. But it is been great to have Mike on here. Just to let our listeners know, you can purchase Mike's mushroom mix, the Focus Performance blend, and all the other amazing Spore mushroom products. Again, like Mike's mushroom mix, you can buy those at sporelifesciences.com. They have the 5 blends there, and they are actually going to be coming out with even more formulations in the coming months. So really helping support your wellness needs, whether it's energy, whether it's boosting your immune system, whether it's relaxing, getting that stress off. There's really something for everyone. So definitely, check out the website. If you are currently a Spore customer, or you want more support around your wellness journey, we even have a Facebook group called the Spore Mushroom Community on Facebook, where we drop in and we do these live episodes like Mushroom Mondays, and we do other support activities really to help you, again, use mushrooms as part of your wellness journey. So it was great to have Mike on for this episode of Mushroom Mondays. And we will be having a doctor on next week. Now, Mike is actually going to be a co-host of Mushroom Mondays. So we're really excited to have him. He'll be hosting the next interview next week. So again, unfortunately, it looks like there were some technical issues, but thank you so much, Michael Zavet, co-founder of Spore, for joining us. And again, every week live at 11 a.m. PST or 2 p.m. EST, we'll be taking your questions. So join in live, whether it's on YouTube or in our Facebook group. We are here for you. So again, signing off, this is Dr. Michele Ross, Director of Education at Spore with Mushroom Mondays. Until next week.